Well, hello Flosstube, it's been a while. I know I keep saying that at the moment, but it does seem like it has been a while since I've been here to talk to you. And I'm just going to give a quick update really of where I am and what I've been working on. Been doing quite a bit really, and sometimes it's difficult to keep track of it all, isn't it? But I hope everybody's doing well and that you're getting on with your projects and getting ready for the holiday season if you celebrate it. If not, I hope you're managing to avoid all of the fuss that there is created around this time of year. So I'm doing okay at the moment. It's quite unseasonably warm for me here. I'm used to winters in the UK, and of course they are usually drab and dreary, really, to be fair. They've had some snow just recently, so I'm missing out on that at the moment. I do love it when it snows, but I do like to be nice, warm and cosy inside when I don't have to go out in it, and usually with a hot chocolate and a bit of stitching just to keep me company. But at the moment we've got brilliant blue skies over here in southern Spain, and it's been beautifully warm. I've been out on a walk this morning with my friend Larissa, who lives next door. She's of Ukrainian nationality, but she speaks really good Spanish. So she and I natter away to each other while we're walking in a mixture of English and Spanish, because I'm trying to learn Spanish. So she's helping me with my conversation. And that's working really well for me. I'm not sure how frustrating it is for her, but for me it works really well, and I'm very grateful to her for the time that she takes. So we mix it with a walk. We normally do about 5,000 steps on our walks, so I'm not quite sure how distant that is, but we've got some beautiful countryside, so I'm hoping on another day to take my camera with me, my telephone, and I'll take some pictures and pop those up for you. I haven't got them ready today, so hopefully it's not too much of a teaser for you, but it is beautiful and it is worth the wait, so hopefully we can do that. The other thing that I thought I'd do as well is that I tend to waffle quite a lot, and apologies to you if you don't enjoy the waffle. It is part of who I am, so it's going to be unfortunately part of the YouTubes anyway, and the Flosstubes, but I'm going to try and keep it contained, shall we say. So what I've thought we'd do is I'll talk about my stitching first. I get the cross stitch out of the way first, and then followed by my embroidery plans that I've got, because those I think are more traditionally the Flosstube subjects. But then I do a lot more stitching in between, and I quite like crafts anyway. So I'm going to then move on to some of the other things that I've made, and then on to future plans that are not cross stitch and embroidery related. And then at the end I thought I'd just have a bit of a chat about life really. So that's just as a bit of a mental reminder to me as to what's happening in my life at the moment for years to come. Also, these videos are really a way of me documenting what I'm making. So again, I want it to be kind of interesting to you guys, but also useful for me as well. So hopefully we can hit that balance where if you just come for the cross stitch, the embroidery, then I'll talk about that at the beginning, and I've got some plans for what I want to do with that. But then obviously I do dressmaking as well. I do dressmaking as well, and also do some home decor projects. So I'll pop those in as we go through. So bear with me, and apologies if you're not into the waffle. But I sometimes quite listening to people when they tell me about their lives and what's happening, especially if I've got a project and I'm just doing some slow stitching. It's much more interesting than some of the programs I've got on TV at the moment. So let's get started. So first off, let's do an update on my After the Roses project. So I've got it in this very nice project bag that I made. So again, on another day that might be something that we can look at doing. Oh, needles poking through, that's not so good. So this is where I was. I did a little bit last night. So this is where we are with After the Roses. And I am working on, this is the top, I have top written on it so that I know which is the top, and I was working on this side just here. So I did some stitching actually on the aeroplane the other day, because I've been back to the UK and back to Spain again since, I'm in Spain at the moment, since I've been working on this project, and I did some stitching on the aeroplane, and although I almost lost my needle only once, so I was really pleased when I found that again. I didn't have any problems getting it through security. I have followed some other Flosstubers tips, and I took a dental floss container, because the little cutter on there is actually very good at just snipping floss for you when you need to break it off. But that was the only thing that you know, I was worried about the needle, but no problems at all with that. Nobody even blinked twice with it going through. Did cause a little bit of interest on the flight, which was always nice. But yeah, this is After the Roses. So this design is by Ink Circles, and I've doing this on 32 count Lugana, Zweigart Lugana even weave. I think it's just in enough white, but the colours there are just beautiful, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really coming together. This section here, this quadrant here, is completely finished, so that's what it'll be like. It's a bit like a mandala design, and that'll be finished all the way through. I actually saw this pattern. I'll show you the pattern for when it's finished on a video, Flosstube video by Anna of Stitch Roadies, and she was it her? I think she links to Needle and Thread, and I think it was Needle and Thread that actually had the video, and I spotted it in the corner of the screen and really just fell in love with it as soon as I saw it, and I still do love it. I think what I need to do with my time as well is, because we're having problems at the moment, because I think I'm very fortunate in that I'm not working at the moment, and so it does give me a lot of time for stitching. The problem with that though is that you don't always have much structure to your week. So I'm not looking at the camera, I'm just around off the camera. Don't have very much structure to your week, and if you're not careful, the time just flies. And you get to the end of the week and you think, how on earth did I find time to work, and look after a family and do some stitching? Whereas now all I've got to do is look after my husband and I and do some stitching, and that just seems to, the time just seems to elude me. Obviously, you've got to make time for going and seeing friends and doing all the household stuff and what have you, but as somebody who much rather prefers to stitch than sew, I don't spend a lot of time on stitch rather than clean, then I don't spend a lot of time really on I do what I have to do, obviously, and that everywhere's nice and clean and tidy and lovely, but I just try to get everything done with as quickly as possible so that I can move on to my stitching. And I think what I'm going to try and do is just set up half a day at least a week where I can work on this project, because I said on my Instagram the other day, I think it deserves to be done and to be shown really. I don't really want it to be in a project bag all the time, just folded away. So we'll see how we get on. That is the only cross stitch project that I'm working on at the moment. I've got another one called Home Sweet Heart Home by River Drift Needleworks, and I haven't even done anything on that one at the moment because I just want to put all my time into this one. So I'm going to carry on with this one and keep going with it and see how we get on, and then I'll try and move on to that one again, the other one. You can have a look at, see it on my other Flosstubes. I've not done it. I'm not showing it today, but that's that one. I have got a couple of plans though for some embroidery. I've got, if I just fire up my phone, I've got our family belongs to quite a big family. I'm one of 5 siblings, and we all do a Secret Santa for our Christmas presents because we do celebrate Christmas. Then and so we all have £20 to spend on each other, and one of us takes it in turns to pick a name out of the hat. This year it's my eldest daughter, Becky, is doing that for us, and she's allocated out who we need to buy for. But what I've done is I've put forward an embroidery project that I wanted to do, and it's available on Etsy. So let me just show you this. Oh, yeah, hold on a second. So it's actually this one. Hopefully you can see that without too much glare. So it's circles. It reminded me of Sue Spargo, if anybody's seen any of her embroideries. So it's circles that are pre-printed onto fabric, and this one has then got other designs printed onto it, and then you can then that's a bit more of a close-up when it's finished, if that looks, can you see any more detail on there? Hopefully you can. But it's a pre-printed sheet that you then kind of embellish, and there's a picture of the thing at the bottom, look, can you see? So it's got where you put your stitches, because Sue Spargo's is a bit kind of free form for me at the moment. I've got her book Creative Stitching too, and that's on my list because she does a project called Sand Dollars, and I don't know if anybody's seen that, but it's very muted creams and tonal woolen circles that have been stitched onto a background, and then you can divide it up into a grid. But then she uses the stitches out of the book that she's got the Creative Stitching 2 book, and I'll put a link down to that below because it's a fabulous book. And you then embellish these circles either as a circle, or you add designs around them and different stitches on them. And I really fancy having a go at that, but the thought of starting it actually frightens me a little bit, because I've not really done any freeform, and I wouldn't say that I'm creative in terms of thinking of new ideas to do and designing. But if I see something I love, then I'm very happy to recreate it, and I can sometimes put a little spin on it, and often when I'm dressmaking I'll change a pattern slightly, but generally speaking I just like to get on with recreating what I've seen and what I love. I suppose there's a little fear of failure maybe there, because I don't know that I'll be able to recreate it quite as well as the designer has. But I thought with this project it was nicely priced, it would be a good one to have. The other thing that I'm hoping to ask for as well, from maybe my daughters, I don't know if anybody's heard of the Raspberry Rabbits of raspberryrabbits.com. They do some beautiful embroideries. So let me just hold this up for you for a moment while it's just scrolling. And they do some different kits that you can ask for and order. And there's some really beautiful designs on there. Really appeals to me, really sweet, very, bit too much light, very pretty. And obviously they're on raspberryrabbits.com, so I'll put a link to their website down below as well. But I'm thinking I'm going to ask my daughters if they wouldn't mind to perhaps buy me one of her kits, because I've been looking at those. Oh, that was a rabbit at the end, wasn't it? Sorry, that's one of her pet rabbits, I think. In order to then have one of those projects to do, because again, I kind of like the embroidery side of things as well. I think it's really pretty. So again, I think I'm going to have the combination of the cross stitch and the embroidery. And as time goes on, I'd quite like to combine the dressmaking and the embroidery, and perhaps have maybe an A-line skirt that's maybe a woolen skirt that in a plain fabric that I then put some embroidery on the bottom of. That would really appeal to me. Or even put some of the circles on maybe and embellish those a little bit. So that's the kind of thing that I think that's the direction I'd like to go to, and I certainly want to have a go at Sue Spargo's sand dollars as well, so we'll see what we can do there. So that kind of wrapped. Oh no, there's one more thing. Let's think how to do this. Okay, I'll just do the embroidery bit on the cross stitch bit on this first. I'm looking for a project to start hopefully in January. That is an annual project. I want to do it as a block of the month, if you like, as they call it in the quilting world. But I want it to be cross stitch. So I'm looking for some themes that are the 12 months of the year, and then I've got a bowl, a glass cut crystal bowl that my husband won. As part of, he used to own a leg on a racehorse, and the horse won, and he was lucky enough to be presented with a crystal, big round, like a rose bowl really, but it's quite deep. And I've recently chalk painted a cabinet, a china cabinet, and so this bowl is now in the china cabinet, but it's empty. So I thought, well, if I could actually, I've seen other Flosstubers and they have got block of the month. It's not block of the month, is it? It's project of the month. Project of the month on cross stitch, where it's perhaps something for each of the seasons. I thought I could make those up into some little cushions, and then, or little pillows, and then, you know, just the tiny little ones, or they're almost pincushion size, aren't they? And then pop them into the bowl and change them out each month. And I thought that would be really quite nice. We don't decorate for the holidays at the moment, so we don't do autumn, spring, summer, winter. We don't have the 4th of July. So I'm thinking one for each month of the year. So if anybody's got any projects where you've done one and it's really, don't need it to be too primitive. It can be cross stitch, it can be a bit of embroidery, it could be wool applique. I do like wool applique as well. Then I'd love it if you just pop me a note down below and let me know, and I'll take a look at those. I know Hands On Design, I think, do some. And there's probably others as well, but I'm thinking of something quite pretty rather than primitive. So just a little bit of eye catching anyway. So that was just something I thought you could all help me with if you didn't mind, and it saves me scrolling through everything all the time, but we'll have a quick look and see what we can find out. So yeah, that was what I was also hoping to do in the future. So I'll have the project from Etsy. That was from, oh gosh, I didn't say who that was from, sorry. hold on one second. That was from Jiggery Pokery on Etsy. So you might have picked that up already, but it's called Dandelions. So I'll pop a link to that below as well, and also to the Raspberry Rabbits for you, so you can have a look at those if you're interested. And hopefully they'll interest you as they did for me. But yeah, hopefully Santa's good to me, and that's what I'll have this year. And then I can have a look at doing some more embroidery as we go through. So that's it for the actual stitch floss tube traditional kind of thing, really, at the moment. So I hope you want to stay on and see what else I've got in the pipeline, but if not, I'll see you soon, and thank you for watching. But for those that want to carry on, let's have a look and see what else. I've done a couple of things, because obviously I had a granddaughter 3 months ago, and well, not me personally, my eldest daughter had a daughter, so I now have a granddaughter called Clementine, and she is absolutely adorable. I just love cuddles with her, and I'm going to I've done a couple of things for her, really. So I've been, where do you start with all this information? Honestly, I need to have more structure, I think. I've taken on 2 sewing students. I had somebody contact me through, well, not contact me, somebody put up a post on a local site on Facebook, on a page, village page for our local village, saying, was there a sewing club in the village? So of course that's to me, ding ding, so straight away. So I messaged back and I said, well, there's not one as far as I know, but if you fancy setting one up, then I'd be interested in setting one up with you. So a lovely lady called Alison contacted me, and she and I met up and had a chat and went for a coffee, which was very nice. And we determined that we've both got a love of sewing. She has been making some dresses, which she's very pleased with and which she loves, but she hasn't expanded out into other dressmaking and hasn't followed a pattern, and has wants to expand her skill set, let's say that. That's the best way of putting it. So when we actually started chatting, we decided that rather than do a peer-to-peer group where we just sit and stitch together, actually she'd benefit, and she asked me if I would mind teaching her what I know as a starter, and then she can then carry on with other stitching as she goes on, and she can obviously go off in different directions. So I was absolutely thrilled, I have to say. It's a dream come true to be able to pass on my skills. I've been waiting for somebody to be interested enough. I know you guys are interested, and thank you for that, and for watching me. I'm playing around with some dungarees, sorry. So we've set up a Wednesday afternoon group where we sit and we stitch, and we have a great time. So apologies for that. We had a bit of a stop start. My telephone decided that it wanted to stop recording. It obviously had enough of listening to me, even though I hadn't had enough of talking to all of you. But anyway, let me just carry on. I was just telling you about Alison and our Wednesday afternoon sewing club that we've set up, and we're very also the other thing is that, well, as Alison started off, when she was speaking to a friend of hers that she bumped into in the gym, she also said that she'd love to go to sewing classes too, but hadn't been able to find anybody to teach her. So actually, I've got 2 for the price of 1. So I'm very lucky to say that Alison and Alexis come over to see me on a Wednesday afternoon, and we spend a very happy 4 hours, which we set it up at the moment just for 4 hours on a Wednesday afternoon, stitching together, really. And we've been working through a few projects. We are going to be doing dressmaking primarily, and Alison wanted to do something children's wear, and I just love making children's wear. I tried to start a bit of a label a few years ago, and it didn't quite work, because I think I was trying to provide something to the community, to my customers, that was a bit too involved, really. I think dressmaking, I was trying to put French seams and things like that into children's wear, and people don't want to pay that much money for them because they are not the children are in them for that long. So I think as parents we enjoy putting our children in very well made clothes, but sometimes people don't want to pay for the time for making them, which is a bit of a shame. So instead we're going to do it for our grandchildren instead. So Alison has a grandson, and so she wanted to make some dungarees for him. So I sent her a couple of patterns to have a look at so that we could start with, and we chose the 5 berries dungaree pattern called Alex Shorties they're called. I'll pop a picture up so that hopefully you can have a little look and see what they look like on the pattern. And because I got a granddaughter, I wanted to make some for Clementine and she wanted to make some for her grandson. So that's what we did. So I helped her make her dungarees. She chose some fabulous fabric. We also went shopping in San Pedro for some, which is San Pedro del Alcantara, it's our local town. So we went there fabric shopping and we picked up some from the quilting shop. I think it was a little bit more expensive than she was expecting, but it's a beautiful fabric. I think it's possibly a Chinese, Japanese kind of weave. It feels like that kind of textured weave. It's nice. And so anyway, we chose that and we've had a go. We didn't do a 12 first, we just went straight for it, but I did have a go at making the pattern first, so I had some idea of what I was trying to teach Alison to do and if there were going to be any difficulties along the way. And so these are the ones that I made for Clementine, so hopefully you can see these. So we've got a lovely pocket on the front. I'll probably make that a little bit smaller next time, and I put some rickrack around the edge of there. Nice little gingham buttons. It's got a stripy inside, and then they're little shorts, and then they've got buttons underneath here. I've just put little white ones on under here, just for nappy changes and for toilet training. This is the age 2. I'll go back a bit and you'll probably be able to see it better. And then on the back, it's got just a lovely little crossband and what have you. It was a lovely pattern to make actually. It was by Five Berries, and I've put a little frill on the top as well. That's part of the design, and also the we put a little bit of extra growth room, so we've got 2 sets of buttons there so they can expand a little bit, and obviously I can always move them down a little bit more if my daughter wants me to for Clementine. So those were the ones that we made, and I'll pop a picture up of the ones that Alison made for you to have a little look, and she was thrilled. So that's good. She managed to get them finished before she was off back to the UK, and hopefully they're going to fit. That was the only concern that we had, was that we'd made them big enough to fit. But yeah, great fun sewing together and actually helping somebody do that, and the look of achievement and satisfaction on her face when she'd finished was fabulous. So that was really good. So the next thing then that I made then was she wanted a little flat cap to go with it. So I've then made one that in some fabric that I'd got, again as a bit of a 12 really, just to test and see if there was going to be any problems at all with where we are with the pattern in advance. And this one was quite tricky. I'll have to, I think it was Wild, I can't remember what the name of the pattern design was, but I'll pop it up for you in case anybody else is interested. But that was a cute little flat cap. But it's got a seam along here that's quite a big curve to put those two together, and I've got a little bit of ruckle going on there, which I'm not overly happy with. But I'm going to pop that off to Clementine. I actually last time I went back, I didn't get a chance to show, but I'd made some dungarees in the same fabric actually. And so, oh, telephone is doing something strange as well. I'm hoping it's not. Okay, it's saying it'll only record in 5-minute sections, so I don't quite know what that's about, but anyway, I'll keep going and I'll try and keep an eye on it. So this was the cap. So I made some a skirt dungarees for Clementine in this corduroy needle cord fabric, and so I thought, well, as a bit of a joke, I thought I could pass this on to her. My daughter will absolutely hate it. I know she will. She won't like it at all, but I think her husband will quite like what seeing his daughter in it. So it's going to go anyway. I needed to make it up in something. I might as well have made it in this fabric. So that's what I did. So hopefully she gets a little bit of wear out of it when it's cold, and until she's got a little bit of hair, a bit more hair to play with. She's got some dark hair actually, which is good, but we'll see how she gets on. So that was 2 things I made, and I also made for Alison a flat cap to match the dungarees she'd made. So it was a set for the 2 things for her grandson. My student Alexis is making an off-the-shoulder elasticated top with short sleeves and then just a straight skirt, but we're going to do a self-tie belt to go with that. And again, I I went with Alexis into San Pedro again. Lovely afternoon. I really like taking people around and showing them what our local town's got fabric-wise. And she bought some beautiful white linen from the local shop, and we had a little chat with a lady in there. She's learning English, and then we were trying our Spanish with her, and she was trying her English with us. So we do find that we are very well received over here in this area particularly. There's a lot of English spoken, and we're told that a lot of English people don't always bother to learn Spanish,
but because we're trying to, then we get a really good reception, so from everybody, so that's really nice to see. So yeah, so we were chatting with the lady in there, and hopefully we'll be able to go in there and get some more fabric. But what I hadn't realised was the fabric wasn't actually on display, and I'd said to her, have you got any linen? And she then said, oh yes, in the back. And she went out and fetched 2 or 3 rolls of linen that she'd got. I think it was €14 a metre, so it was mediumly priced, but not too bad. And so so she got red, a khaki colour, black, and then this white as well. And as soon as Alexis saw the white, she knew exactly that's what she wanted, so that's what we've got. And we've started making that garment up. We've done, we did a 12 first of a top for her to try it, and although we both thought she wouldn't particularly like it, actually she really did. So then she said, I think I might like it as a dress. So okay, then let's do another one and extend it down as a dress. And because Alexis is a beginner sewer as well, she's done some alterations before, but she's not done any dressmaking for herself from scratch. Then actually making the 12s was really good practice, and we just cut up an old duvet cover that she got, and it was perfect. So we just used that fabric for the 12. We've made the dress, we adjusted the length slightly, she wanted it slightly longer, fine, no problem at all with that. And then we're now making it in the linen, which as we know is slightly less drape than the fabric that she used for her 12, but I think that over time it's going to soften anyway. And we've pre-washed the fabric before we've cut it out, so we're following all the rules as we can do, and introducing her to the overlocker. So I think that's on her Christmas list now from her husband, so she'll be looking at the overlocker for that, and seeing how she gets on with that. So we've had great fun doing that as well. So that was just the offside into the sewing club that I've really started, which it's great fun, and I do a bit of home baking for that as well, so just like to have a few cakes and things if we can, which isn't good for the diet, but sometimes we have to live, and it's nice to do these things when we've got visitors coming, isn't it? So on to something else. I do a little bit of knitting, and this is a cardigan that I've knitted for Clementine, so a little bobble cardigan here. It looks a bit wide to me and a bit short, but and the sleeves seem very long. But I followed the pattern. I'm not sure the wool's perhaps quite the right one, but maybe it'll be fine once it's on, hopefully. I've tried to make the neck nice and loose so that it'll fit onto round her head without strangling her, because I know babies don't like to have anything too tight round. But I like the raglan sleeves on it, so that's quite nice, and the little bobbles I've done, so we've enjoyed doing that, which has been good. So I'm going to take those over with me when I go over at Christmas, and hopefully my daughter will like that for Clementine. I've got another couple of patterns. There's a cardigan that I really like, so if you are looking for a baby pattern, I'll pop that one up as well. That's called by Little French Knits, and they're available on Etsy, and they've also got their own website, and they do one that you start at the neck and knit down, and that's really lovely. So I'll post a picture of that one up for you as the pattern, and then you can have a little look and see if that's if you do any knitting. I don't know whether you do or not, maybe you don't, but I think they're really cute little babies in hand knits. So I've done 2 of those now. Did one in mustard and one in a lovely pearl colour, so that's done those bits of hand knitting for her, which she's enjoyed receiving, hopefully. Back again after the next 5-minute section. It's quite a good timer actually. It's going to keep me on track hopefully, and keep things moving along, and hopefully not be too boring for all of you. Yes, I quite like to use my sewing skills to spread things around, spread the love if we like. Quite often when we're makers, then we can make quicker than we can use, or we can make quicker than we can give away. So it's always nice to have an excuse, if you like, to be able to pass on something that we've made, or to make something with somebody in mind. And I've recently signed up to the local dentist here, and I know that doesn't seem like a big thing for most people, but for me, I've had a fear of dentists for probably all of my adult life really. And I had quite a lot of work done when I was younger. I had some teeth removed and what have you, and some injections and some fillings, and it was really, I didn't like it at all. And so it's kind of put me off, and I've had a bit of a hiatus where I'd not been going, and I knew that I needed to get back onto it again and be adult about it and deal with it. And so what I actually did was I contacted a local dentist, and then went along and had a check-up with my husband as well, dragged him along too, thinking he might need some work. And it turned out that I needed 5 fillings. which I wasn't very happy about, and he needed nothing at all. I mean, where is the fairness in that? He came out, apparently she said to him that he was the reason why she wouldn't be able to feed her children, because he needed nothing doing. So he's just been fine. He's got a clean and a polish, and literally that's all he's had to do, and see you in a year's time. But little old me, who's frightened to death of going to the dentist, then has to have 5 fillings done. Oh, it's like, oh, really? But anyway, our really good friends, Janet and Alan, they knew I was dreading it, and they knew that I was really nervous. And so I went along for my first set of fillings, and the dentista Marta, was just lovely. She was really, really kind to me, and she said to me, "Don't you worry, Claire, I'll do it with all my love." And said in a Spanish accent, and just with such emotion. How could you not feel like you were in good hands when somebody says that to you? So she completely won me over in that session, I must admit, and I've since been back for all of my appointments. I've had all of my fillings done. A couple of them were quite deep. She thought I might have some sensitivity from those, and luckily so far everything seems to be going okay. But at the moment, not at the moment, everything seems to be going okay, that's fine. So when I got back and saw some of my friends the next day after having my first set of fillings done, they'd done me a certificate. So they've actually done me I was brave at the dentist certificate, which is amazing. So I was really thrilled with that. So that's what's happened anyway, and I've got a lovely certificate there. So I keep that up on my wall, because for me, I was brave, and I know that it's not much for a lot of people, but I managed to, I follow a lady called Marléne Rose Shaw, and she has a book, How Kind People Get Tough, but she also does some other books as well, and the name of them are escaping me at the moment, but basically about finding yourself and your inner self. And she talks about calming our inner child who's trying to protect us. And I had a bit of an inspiration before I went one day, and I thought, do you know what, that's what's happening. My inner child is scared still. As an adult, I know I need to go to the dentist. I want to keep my teeth. But my inner child is just scared and putting all of that anxiety into me. So I used some of the tips in her book, and I managed to calm myself down in order to get it all done. So bit of self-love going on here as well, but I was really proud of myself. But I was really, really grateful to the dentist and her assistant, and the receptionist as well was really lovely. She knew that I was nervous. She didn't make a fuss of anything. She helped me do my appointments and get them sorted in nice and quickly, because she knew that if I didn't make them quickly, I wouldn't be going back again. So that's what she did. So what I'm doing is I've made some little thank you gifts for them. So I've made this one, I think will go to Esther, who is the receptionist. So a little zip tie on here, and these are dumpling pouches. And I've quilted the fabric here. I've got some scrim foam on the inside, so it gives a little bit of padding. And then inside we've got a nice neat finish, a little bit of a saggy bottom there, which we don't necessarily want, but it's difficult to get them completely tight in there. But these are really lovely just for putting in your handbag or keeping in your car, just with essentials in, toiletries, ladies' things, all those kind of things. They're really, really lovely. And I just thread some ribbon through and then just make a little pull on the end there for that one. So that one's for Esther. This one here is for her, Dentista Marta's assistant called Patricia. I found out their names to make sure I could say thank you properly. So that's got a little glittery heart on the end there, and again another little zip pull. I've done the same lining in all of them because that made it nice and easy for me, but still hopefully they'll still like them. So that's for Patricia, so I hope she's going to like that. And then for Dentista Marta, I've done a turquoise one, and a little button on the end there with another little love heart there. So I'm going to do I've done some little labels as well, which I'm going to put with them and wrap these up for them, and then just take them along and just say thank you very much, because they really did make a big difference to me and my experience of going back to the dentist. I'm not going to say that I'm going to love and skip down the street to get there again, but they've taken the fear away, and I feel like I'm in good hands. So I'm very grateful to them. They're at Sanitas in the Sanitas Dental in Estepona, if anybody watches from Spain. I'm not sure I've got any Spanish or English in Spain viewers as yet, but yes, that's what they did. So I'm going to pop these in a little bag for them, and then they can have those hopefully soon. So that will be something. So if you wanted to have a go at doing these, I've got the pattern somewhere. I did have the pattern. Oh, where's it gone? Hold on a second. Here we go. Sorry, apologies. It's this pattern here, which is a free one, I believe, called michellepatterns.com. And this is for, it's called a Dumpling Pouch, and she did this one in 2014, and she said you're welcome to make items to sell using this pattern as well, which is unusual, but you have to credit michellepatterns.com for the pattern. But yeah, that hopefully should be available still. I mean, I've had it for a couple of years now, but that's really good. And what I've done is I've made a template out of cardboard from it, and I've actually put a fold in, so I know, because she does her slightly differently. I don't like to have a different buyer's tape on the inside of my dumpling pouches. I want it to be really nice and neat. So I actually cut two of this shape with the bottom, just fold the back out of the way, which gives me the seam allowance for the bottom of it. So that's what I do on my templates to make it work for me. And then of course you can do whatever you want to, but yeah, but that works really well. So as a template, so if you wanted to go along and have a go at those, if anybody wants a tutorial, because I have been doing some tutorials on how to make different things, then I'd be very happy to do that. Just let me know if you think it'd be interesting to you let me put this away quickly before I interfere with the sound. So if you do fancy having a tutorial on that, then just let me know, and I'll see what I can do to put one of those together. I've got some to do on lunar Lapin yet, the little felt rabbits that I make, and well, I don't make them out of felt, I make them out of quilting cotton, but some of those, so I'm going to have a go at making that. And that brings me on to one of my other projects, because I do want to have a go at making this one here, Wilhelmina Mouse. They do called Crafting, which is owned by Sarah Peel, who's the author of this book, do an outfit for either Luna or for the mouse, and it's a ballerina cardigan that crosses over, and then it's got a tulle skirt and little ballet shoes as well. So I really fancy making one of those. So I said to some people that I was going to make a tutorial on how to make a Luna, because a couple of people have reached out to me on my other videos, one for how to sew the foot pad on the bottom, and another one how to attach the head to the body. So I'm going to do a video starting soon with that. That's going to be, I'm trying to have Tuesdays as my YouTube day, and I'm going to start and make that, and then I'll make some clothes as well, and I'll take people along with me on that. So this is the Wilhelmina Mouse I'm going to make next for that. So that's another art project that I've got that I want to do. Lots of projects that I want to do. Also for my stepson James, he asked me if I would make him a pouch for, I think it's for his hair clippers, hair trimmers, and so I've made him a box pouch. This again is quite easy to make. Again, it's the same principle as the dumpling pouches, in that I've taken some scrim foam, and this is an upholstery weight fabric that I've put on the top of here, and I quilt that on my machine just backwards and forwards quite nice and easily. It's fairly straightforward. But then I've put the zip in. Now on the inside it's quite special, because this is actually recycled fabric. I've interfaced it, but it's recycled fabric from one of his dad's work shirts that he no longer needed, and I saved from the recycling bin. So I take the buttons off and save all of those anyway, but then I cut the fabric up. So I cut off the collar and I cut out the seams, literally just use a seam ripper or my scissors and just cut the seams out. I don't undo them, just snip those straight off. And then you get quite a lot of fabric actually from a shirt. My husband's a 2XL in his shirts anyway, so that always helps too. And I use those then to make these little pouches for linings and things, but for quilting. I mean, it's a nice quality cotton. So it's got a zip pouch on here. And also the other thing that I've done is I've put a little tie on. So, a zip pull. So it's got his dad's shirt in the middle, but then I've actually used a button from his nanny's button box and sewn that onto a leather zip pull there, so hopefully that's really going to be quite sentimental for him when he gets that. So I'll take that back over with me to the UK when we go for Christmas shortly, and hopefully he'll like that. I have shown it to him on Zoom and he did approve, so that's always a good thing when they like what you've made. It did make him smile, so hopefully it's the right size and he'll enjoy using that for his trimmers. I do like to get requests actually, which is lovely to make things that people want, and yeah, that's always nice to be able to do that and to help somebody out. So the next project that I wanted to share with you was one that I finished recently, and again I've done a couple of videos on this cushion. It's done in 2 parts, and it's this one here, which I hope you all like. I love it, so I'm really pleased with it. It's the design here is called Lovebirds, and it's by Lisa Bonjean of Primitive Gatherings. Now she did it in a slightly different colourway because I couldn't get the correct colour of felt for all of these bits, so I had to work with what I got. Luckily this matches my bedroom nicely in the colours I've got in here. So this is a wool applique that I did, and then it's got a little bit of embroidery embellishment on. So there's a video on my YouTube channel about this that you can have a look at if you wanted to have a go at doing something similar, and I've also linked the books as well that this design comes from. But then, so that was the first part, just the front of the pillow, but then I've done a lapped zipper on the back of this one, across the back here, which I think is very neat, and hopefully you agree. Little zip under here to getting the cushion pad in and out, and I also put on the pom-pom trim as well. So this is really pliant. It is straight, honestly. It doesn't look like it is there, but it is. And that's something that I've enjoyed using. So I put this on my pillow. So if you did want to go and have a look at doing this, then lots of sorry, I've had a break because the camera stopped on me again. So if you wanted to have a look at how I did this, and also for your own projects and cushions, then the lapped zip tutorial is one by Make It Coats, and it's amazing. It's just really easy to follow, and so whilst that one was fairly short, 10 minutes in true Claire form, I've made it now about half an hour, but I've also added on how I did the trim for the pom-poms as well and made it into a cushion. So if you're interested in that one, then hopefully that'll be nice for you. But this cushion now sits on my bed, which I'm quite happy about, and looks nice. So that's another project that's been done whilst I've been away. What else have I done? Now, I did paint the dresser as well. I'm going to put a picture of that up as well because I'm really quite pleased with that, and it's something that I've not done before. I use Annie Sloan paint. She's the doyenne, is that the right word, of chalk paint. So she's the master of that. And it was a dark wood cabinet that we bought. I thought it was going to be a bit antique when I first bought it, but then when I got it home it wasn't. I hadn't spent a lot of money on it, I think about €150, and then I spent about another €150 on the actual paint and the wax. But you know what, I really like it. I mixed 2 colours together to get the colour that I wanted, which was a bit more of a taupe colour. But I really like it in the space, so I'll put a before and after picture up. I have had it on my Instagram feed as well that I was working on it, so there are some pictures of work in progress there that you can have a look at. So have a look at that. But that it now holds the glass rose bowl that I was talking about earlier, that I'm going to put my embroidery projects in when I get those done, when I do my project of the month. So that's the thing. And I keep putting my sleeves down on this top as well. This is another video that I've just recently put up. I put up a tutorial on how to do twin needle stitching, just so that you've got a quick and easy reminder if ever you want to set up your machine. I don't know if ever anybody's done that before, but sometimes it's easy to forget one of the steps that you need while you're getting your machine set up. So this is the Peach Wanted t-shirt that I messed up basically before I'd messed up this front section here of the collar. So I unpicked the whole thing, recut a new piece here, and then I've reattached it, and I've also done my hems on here and on the body. It's a bit small, I have to say. I'm wearing it today, and hopefully, not hopefully, unfortunately, you've probably noticed in the video that it's sitting quite high up on my shoulder joints and it's bunching up a bit. I think it's going to be one of those tops that's just for the house. I finished it, and I'm glad that I finished it. I'm glad it didn't end up in the bin. I think that the fabric hasn't got quite enough stretch in it for the design of the pattern, and that's why it's not quite worked on this fabric. I think on the latest one that I made, after this one. So I made this one first, messed it up, then I made another one to prove to myself that I could make it correctly, and I did. So then I've come back to this one again. That one I cut out the size bigger, and because my weight does fluctuate a little bit anyway, so I made that one size bigger, and it was much better on the shoulders, and the fabric was much stretchier. And I have bought some more fabrics as well from Sewing Bee in Stapleford, and I'm going to be making some more garments anyway, so I've got those in mind for what I want to make for the next set of dressmaking. So I'm going to run through those fabrics, and I thought you'd be interested in seeing what fabrics I've bought and what my plans are, so I'll show those to you next. So now what I'm going to do is go through my dressmaking fabric that I purchased. When I was in the UK last time, I went across to Sewing Bee at Stapleford in Nottingham and had a very nice hour there with Elaine and Wayne, who managed the shop. Elaine's a fabulous sewing teacher, so if ever you want any work there, then any lessons there, then pop along. She's really, really super lovely lady. And she manages the classes and her husband manages the shop, and they do a fabulous job. So I did buy this fabric from them, as I say, and I did use not on this top because I haven't bought a cover stitch yet. It's now on my wish list. I did go along and have a go at using a wish list, have a cover stitch there, a Janome one, and I'm a convert, I have to say. The stretch on a twin needle isn't super stretchy, whereas on a cover stitch it's much better. So that's going to be on my wish list, and I'm going to save up for that. So might take me a year or so, but I don't mind. It'll be worth it when I get it, and it'll be a good addition to my it'll be a trio of machines I have then, with my sewing machine, my overlocker, and my cover stitch when it comes. But just for now, I've got some more fabrics to show you, so I'll run through some of these. This one is a navy blue gingham that I purchased. This I thought would make a nice dress for Clementine, a nice summer dress for her, or even like a summer romper. I thought the little checks on it might be quite nice to have a go at smocking as well. On one of her toys that I've made, I did smock a little dress for the first time, but I just thought that might be quite sweet to have a go, although my husband's seen it and he thinks that it might make quite a nice shirt for him. Not sure of the fabric construction of this one. It could be a polyester, so it might not be perfect for a shirt for him in this hot weather, but we'll have a look and see anyway. But if not, it'll make some nice lining. I tend to buy 3 meters at a time when I buy from Elaine, because the fabric is really quite competitively priced. It's £2.50 a metre, so it's it doesn't take a lot then to just buy 3 meters, and you've got some for your stash. So that's the first one that I bought. Next one I bought was this one, which is a peachy pink marl t-shirt fabric. It's not very thick, so it's quite so it's more of a base layer, little bit sheer. But I thought that would make a nice little top for me, and possibly for a little top for Clementine as well, for going under her pinafore dresses and what have you that I'm hoping to make for her. So I'll have a go at making a t-shirt for her and a long sleeve top. I might try and do a scoop neck top instead of, because otherwise I'm going to have all of these square necked ones, and whilst I love the design and I like it on me, then I might prefer to have something a little bit different sometimes. Or it might, or I could make 2 maybe out of it, because I've only got 3 meters of that, I think. I might have got 1.5 meters. If not, I might have enough to make an Adrienne blouse as well. So I'll see. It depends how sheer it is when I try it on, because I don't like to wear things that are too sheer sometimes. I also bought this one, which is another jersey. You can't get jersey very well over here, I've found. So that's why this is a lot of this is jersey and stretch fabrics. This is quite a sweet little design. Again, I thought this would make a nice little swing top and legging set for Clementine. So that would be really nice for her when I get around to making that. I think I've got 1.5 meters of that. This one is quite a nice one that I got. It's almost like a teddy bear fabric, I suppose, really. It is a stretch. It has got a stretch to it. Was it? Yes, it has got a bit of stretch to it on that way. I was thinking it wasn't stretched then, but nothing this way. And I thought this would make a really nice toaster sweater. I think that might be the right side actually. Yeah, it's got like a loop on that side, so it's got texture. These have all been washed now, which is why they're looking a bit bobbly. But this one is a bobbly design anyway. And I thought this would make a really nice toaster sweatshirt. my youngest daughter Lucinda, she's seen this one and she thought this might quite make a nice oversized like boyfriend sweater. So I thought that I could try that, but then I did see a pattern that's off one shoulder that's quite nice, very loose and baggy, which is what she likes. But it just drops off one shoulder slightly, which is adds just a bit of a twist rather than having a round neck, which can look a bit tight sometimes. So she might get one of those instead. She doesn't know it, and hopefully she doesn't mind. But I think that would look nice if that was the case for her. So hopefully she'll like that one. And I thought toaster for me as well. There's again 3 meters that one, so that one should be fine. As you can probably tell, when I came back from the UK, there wasn't any room for any luggage in my actual carry-on case. It was all just fabric. It was quite amusing really, and I was carrying this packed rucksack with me with all of my personal things in because everything was rammed into into my other bag. I also picked up this one, which is quite nice. So this feels like a polyester viscose. Well, no, I know viscose and polyester isn't the same thing, but it's a lightweight polyester anyway. It's got a lovely drape to it, a little bit not sheer particularly, but just look at those colours on it, really vibrant. And I thought that would make a lovely summer dress, possibly another Anna as well. I know I've got a couple of those, but that's really easy style to wear. So I thought that might make a nice Anna dress to wear anyway. But I think what I'll have to do is I'll have to line the skirt on this one, because the problem is that when you're, I don't know whether you find it in the States, in the hot countries, when it gets hot and humid, you're sitting down out, you know, perhaps on a garden chair or sitting on a restaurant chair. And when you get up, if you've got only one layer to the garment you're wearing, it'll stick to your skin on the backs of your legs and your bottom. And if you've got 2 layers, then the first layer sticks to your skin, but the second layer then just tends to hang free, so you don't get any embarrassing moments where you're having to peel your fabric away from your legs. So I think that what I'll do is I'll try and find a nice lining fabric for this one, and I'll line it in probably in a non-static if they've got it, and then that will then mean that it saves my modesty really, but makes it much nicer to wear in the summer because it's such a pretty design. And I think the colours would be quite good for me as well. They are all my kind of colours, so hopefully that should be okay for that. So that was a nice find, and that one actually was available the last time I went back, and then I didn't get it. I thought and then the last time I went, they got this roll end piece, and I just thought, do you know what, that's got my name on it, because obviously if it had all gone, then it wouldn't have been for me. So that was that one. This one is quite a nice one, another jersey. So this is an animal print, but it's black, and it's got this lovely rust-coloured dots on. This one is going to be a wanted t-shirt. I really like this fabric. It's nice and soft, and I think that'll be nice for a layer under things. So that will be a wanted t-shirt. I need to get some things cut out, and I'm certainly buying fabric quicker than I'm making things at the moment. So I've got to be aware of that. Because I don't like to stash too much, because then fashions change, don't they? And you don't get the wear out of them. This one I really liked. This is a heavier weight. This is like a purpley blue colour actually. I'd call it a deep purple, but it might be even like a bit like a French navy. But this has got a little bit of a loop back on the back of it, so it's 2-tone sort of thing. No, the light's playing funny games with us this afternoon. So that's a really nice one as well. That's going to be a toaster t-shirt, but I'm trying to find a tutorial for how to change a funnel neck that the toaster is, which comes a bit high, into more of a cowl neck. So I thought that would be a bit more flattering. So I kind of think I need to make a long tube and make it a couple of times longer and a bit maybe shaped out a bit like that, so it's bigger on the front than it is at the neckline. And that's as far as I've got. So if anybody knows of a good cowl neck tutorial for how to add a cowl neck to a top, then please let me know. If not, I'm sure at some stage I'll put a note together and say how I did it. But yeah, I thought that was quite a nice one. That should be quite nice for winter. And I thought I might do it a slightly longer line as well, so that when I'm wearing it with jeans and boots, it kind of covers my bottom as well, which I think would look nice and toasty. I know that is a look from the 80s, and I am an 80s girl, so forgive me for that. But I did think that it does get quite chilly here in winter when it's cold and wet, and I thought that would be quite nice. So yeah, that's what I'm planning to do on that one. I'll put some pictures up so you've got some of these. I did also buy this plain, it's not white, it's an off-white I think. And she said a lot of people were buying it for making underwear out of, actually. And it's got a nice coverage, nice thick fabric. It's not too sheer. A little bit with this light maybe, but not too heavy. Cotton lycra, just really nice. So again, I know I shouldn't be saying wanted t-shirt, but I just really like the square neck on it. And when I fit it properly and it wears properly, then it does look nice. So that's what I was thinking of doing with that one. So then on to a couple more things left. We're nearly at the end, I promise. It's been such a long time since I've spoken to you all that and updated you on what I'm working on. I did have a request from somebody, and that was whether or not I'd ever done any English paper piecing. That's where you have the paper or cardboard templates and then you sew around them. And I have. So I thought I'd get this one out to show you. I don't quite know what to do with this one really. I started making some borders. So these are all hexagons that I've used to make borders. And I've got a couple of shorter ones. All of the same fabrics. And then I've got a couple of longer ones as well. So I'm thinking I might find some orphan blocks at some stage and make a quilt, and perhaps like a medallion quilt. So you have like a centerpiece, and then you put the other bits. They put these borders around it. I've got some more cut out and ready to go that I've not quite finished making yet. But yeah, so I've had a go at doing that. I've taken out the papers in the middle ones, but kept the papers in the side ones. So that's in a kind of, it's not a timeout because I'm not cross with it. It's just in a pending. I've got a pending pile, a works in progress pending pile, deciding what to do with them. And sometimes you just fancy doing a bit of something, but you don't quite know what. You don't want to sit as in depth as having to count your stitches for cross stitch, but you just want something to keep your hands busy. And in actual fact, one year, obviously it wasn't last year because of COVID or the year before, but a few years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I took it along to the cricket with me. My husband likes to watch the cricket, and we were at Derby in the Midlands in the UK, and Derby were playing, I can't remember who now, and so I'd got my stitching with me by the side of him while he was watching his cricket. And I don't mind going to the cricket if there's a good picnic, and I've got something to do, so that's what I did with that. So yeah, I have had a go at English paper piecing, and I do quite like it. It's just, I don't always like the designs. Sometimes they're a bit traditional for me. I did make this cushion here, and that's kind of a bit like the English paper piecing because I used the squares of the fabrics and then quilted it. But this one was inspired by somebody who does designs called Modern Handcraft, and she does a lot of this like disconnected shapes. And I've done some cushions with the hexagons across, and I quite liked that. So there's ways of using it. So but yeah, I've not done a lot with that really, I suppose. The other thing that I did with in here, excuse me, is I made some. I'm making some little scrap string quilts as well. That's the other thing that's quite nice to do. So I've got lots of strips of fabric that I've saved from projects, and then you just literally use a foundation piece of this is old sheet, I think, and decide your size, and then literally put one across, put two across facing each other and stitch down, and then it's literally flip and sew as you're going down. So if anybody fancies a tutorial on those, because these can look quite nice when they're all together as well, so you can either have them all going the same way, or you can flip them and make a central design with the squares as well. But they're quite nice and warm. You just put your wadding on the back of them, and because the quilting is already, the strip's already quilted in actual fact, you might not need to do too much in terms of the quilting over the top, but it's a nice way to use scraps up, and I have got a lot of scraps. I do save them as well, so anything bigger than a 1-inch square I tend to save. So I do need to get some scrap busting done as well. You can see I've got a lot of sewing to do and not as much time. So then the English paper piecing then brings me on to foundation paper piecing, which I've also tried. And this was a gem that I did on foundation paper piecing. It isn't brilliant, but you know, it's about having a go, isn't it, and trying it. I did buy a lot of fax quarters to have a go at making this one, so it wasn't a cheap project. Who is this one by? Let's see if it's got by on here. Just says lowercase, so that's not the designer. I'll have to have a look and see if I can find the design for that one. I think I started making some letters as well. Letter E there. I think I was going to put sleep on a cushion and then put that together, but I've never finished that either. So that's in the work in progress pending pile, waiting for the right project. But there will be something some one day that I want to have a go at doing, and I think, oh, do you know, I've got that. And I don't forget about these projects. That's the other really crazy thing. I might forget how much toilet paper we've got or where I'm supposed to be on a certain day, or to switch the lights off, but for some reason, stitching, I don't forget projects. They're always there, and I know what I've got and what supplies I've got. And usually, even though I've got a messy sewing room, I can put my hand on them pretty quickly too. But anyway, the next thing then that I wanted to talk to you about was this little project here, which is some fabric that I've been given by my mum. When I was over in the UK last time, I helped my mum, and she bought some new bedding for her bedroom. She's got this this fabric in her bedding, and she couldn't get the duvet cover in a king size that she wanted. It had only got it in a super king, and I didn't want her to miss out on buying it. So I said, well, buy the super king and I'll make it smaller for you. So that's what I did. I measured the super king size duvet for her. We laid her duvet on top, and then I took some off each side for her so that it kept the pattern central and kept it centred. But then it gave us these strips of fabrics, and she said, oh, do you know what I'd really like? I'd like a bed runner. So I've been given his strips of fabric, and I've got to find a way of making a bed runner. They're not very thick, not very wide, and there's two different designs. There's one with less flowers on, and then there's the other one with more flowers on, so a bit denser on the printing. So I'm going to alternate them, I think, and cut them into strips. And then I thought I could put some piping. So if I made a piping edge on here and then sewed them together with the piping edge, that might make it quite nice. But I haven't got a different colour at the moment to put in between. So I'm just toying with that as to what I can do to make that look nice for her. So that's a project that I'll get done at some stage, and I'm going back to the UK in a couple of weeks, so I do need to get the finger out on that one, otherwise I'm going to have one disappointed mother, and disappointed mums are not a good thing to have, so I do need to get on with looking at that for her. And then the final thing I was going to talk to you about was about how I've started recording my projects. So I've bought myself a book, and it says Projects 2021. Obviously, we're going towards 2022. And I read a book, and I think it was called The Singer Sew Machine, or The Sew Machine. It was a novel, and in it, it was about a sewing machine that was passed on through people. And the people who had it had a project book, and whenever they made a new item using the sewing machine, then they made a note of it. And what they did was they took a scrap of fabric and they sewed it using their machine onto the page, and then they did a brief description of what they'd actually made. So that's what I've done. So these are Clementine's Dungarees, and this is James's box pouch. I also made some little home decor boxes, so I've put a patch of that in, and I did a couple of alterations for someone and took some trousers up, so I've got snaps of those. I then had a go at making a couple of bras, and although these aren't nice traditional bra fabrics, I just needed some fabric from out of my stash, so again I've done those, and that was the Black Beauty bra, so more on that in the future by Emerald Erin. And then I was going to put in about the dumpling pouches on here. So I didn't know whether that was something that you'd be interested in, and just a way of just trying to document actually what we do, what we make, because you tend to forget half of it. I don't know about you guys, but I certainly do. So anyway, that's what I thought I'd do. So I thought I'd just share that with you for now, and then hopefully that'll be a good reminder as well when I come to do my YouTube videos. I'll have some idea of where to look in terms of what projects I've been working on for you. So that was it really on terms of the lots of worms again, you see, in terms of the sewing. In terms of life is interesting sometimes, isn't it? I think I could do with some tips on how to be a good at a distance grandma. I'm struggling with that a little bit. I love to make things for Clementine, but it's how do we let our loved ones know that they are not forgotten? I try to text regularly, I try to call regularly. It doesn't always seem enough for them. I think maybe I'm for me as well a little bit. So just trying to think, if you're at a distance relative, it doesn't have to be grandchildren, it can be sisters and nieces and whatever, then if you've got any tips at all on how you cover the miles and make the distance not seem so vast, then I'd really like to hear it, because I actually love my life here. I really do. But I also love my time when I go back to the UK and see everybody and see the family and friends that I've missed. And it can be difficult balancing the two, because I think people are finding it difficult when I turn up to then play a part in their life and want to be, hi, I'm here, can we do things? And then of course, I think I'm leaving a bit of a hole then. Well, I'm perhaps being a bit over-egging it there, but I think then when I go, it's difficult to readjust for people. So anyway, that was just a quick thought that I had. I'm sure that there's some of you over there who live away from your families, and with COVID as well, just how you've managed to bridge that distance. So if you've managed to stay with me this long, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed everything that I've been doing. As I say, I'll hopefully pop some pictures up as I go along, and you can see what we've been doing. And that's a wrap really for Flosstube number 3. And I'll start and keep some notes and hopefully make some plans for Flosstube number 4. Plenty in the process, as you can tell, and we'll see how we get on. So I hope everything's okay with all of you. I hope that you're managing to get plenty of stitching done, and I look forward to hearing what you've been up to. And if you want to share anything, any comments, then let me know. Any feedback, I'm always happy to hear it. So take care everybody, and thank you for watching. Bye.